It's very true about feeling lonely, so I feel very responsible. You see me, but no, I'm not so calm. I'm I'm impulsive. Yeah, I'm impatient. I'm also, I think what we did very well is the topic of not getting too crazy about growth. So, especially my sector, no? As I mentioned before, there were companies that were raising 500 million at huge valuations, no? It's very hard to live up then to these valuations, no? And then there's a lot of pressure. You have to grow. But at the end, then also you're getting into a circle that you have to raise another round because you're losing money. No, so you're not so sustainable. And being independent is what I think is undervalued.
How have your ego as a founder, as a leader, as a person limited you during your journey?
Well, good. That's a really strong question. I guess that has happened, no? Because all of us have strong egos, no? And yeah, you have to accept that you're not the best in everything, no? So it's like an obligation to speak up for people.
So Timo, welcome to Behind the Founder's Door. We are very happy to have you here with us today.
It's a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming. When I approached you in that startup event, actually to convince you to come here, you told me, have you not seen the Itznik podcast the other night, and you wanted to wave me away? So I would like to start with asking you, why did you come today, and how can we create the podcast today in a bit of a different way so you don't get bored? Because you're invited as well.
No, it's a pleasure to share, and I love to share, and I think I'm learning also a lot from other entrepreneurs and investors, so I see it as a giving and taking, so it's a pleasure to share. I'm sure I can learn from your questions.
Perfect. We're going to try to do that, but I'm going to do the exercise of today. So I'm going to re-question the question whenever you try to avoid the answer.
Sure.
So let's try this again. What would you like to experience today, maybe, that you haven't yet in any podcast to make it interesting for yourself?
It's a strong question. I don't know. I think we're talking about my experience now over the last 17 years with Cooltra. If you want to touch on any specific topic.
So to give you a bit of a heads up,
yes,
of course we did our preparation work. We've watched your performances online and offline.
Yes,
and what kind of questions you have been asked. We will not focus so much on the business side. But one thing that we see, especially with young entrepreneurs, also older entrepreneurs, is that one thing that really helps a lot is to be able to refer to people that are very successful already as well, but also are people, right? We're all humans. We all have our flaws. We all have our mistakes. We all have our challenges to deal with.
Sure.
And in this case, what we want to focus on today was the path that you had in following your dreams, and how these dreams evolved, and how you overcame certain challenges.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Sounds great. Yeah, sure.
Perfect.
So to start, I think it's good to kind of have a bit of context because we're going to talk about leadership. It's very different to lead a company of, let's say, 50 people, that 1,000 people, like one country, different countries. So can you put us a bit in the context of what Cooltra is today?
Yeah, sure. No, so we started in 2006. So 17 years ago. We started not far away from here. It's 500 meters away in a small garage near Sagrada Familia. I was employee number one. We bought 20 motorcycles. We hired mechanic. We hired a customer service person, and we just started renting motors. It was very much focused on renting to tourists and people here from Barcelona. The idea started that I brought my motor to a workshop and I couldn't find a rental of a motorcycle. So that's really, it came out of a personal necessity, no? And from there now we are in the company. We are operating in 8 countries. We are 500 people. We invoice around 50 million euros. And yeah, there happened many things. Yes, and leadership has changed a lot. Now Cooltra also requires a different leadership than when I started back then. No, so Back then it was very much focused on doing and just survival mode, no? Now it's more working mid to long term on the company.
You already talked about that in another podcast where you said that you already failed with a startup before. So my question in this case is everybody has a dream when they are founding something to a certain degree. What was that dream? And I think it was a company focused on selling flowers, so
Yes.
not even remotely related to what you're doing today. What was the dream that you had before founding this company?
Yeah. Well, so going back a little bit, no. So when I came to Barcelona, before that I was a management consultant in Munich, and I decided to do an MBA here at the ESE because I liked the school, I liked Barcelona, and so during that MBA, I took a lot of classes on entrepreneurship, etc., and it's something that inspired me. I liked it. And during one of the classes, we had a project actually, and that was this. It was called Lilium back then. It was something like now Colvin is doing. We were selling flowers online and also through stores. And I worked on that project during my MBA, and we were a group of people doing it. At the end, I was the only one staying with it, and so yeah, we basically bootstrapped it, but weren't successful. So I was hanging on to that project maybe 1.5 years before we closed. Yeah. But about the dream, it was like you can also see now with Cooltra, I like mobility and especially sustainable mobility. I think it's a passionate topic, but for me, it was a little bit more by coincidence how I went into these two businesses. You can also see that they're very different. So for me, it's more about leading the company and enjoying the day to day. It's not so much about the product.
Makes sense. I was going to ask that because, like you said, you founded Cooltra as basically renting scooters to tourists. Now you're very proud that you actually have renewable energy in the whole life cycle of the program, right? So you have electrical vans, you're taking renewable energy. But why did that change? So I guess your initial thought was not, I want to make the world better. Your thought was more, if I can take your own words, I have a broken down motorcycle and I want to have another one in the meanwhile, right?
Yeah. No, this whole mission of Cooltra and also my personal mission, it changed over time, no? So electric mobility is only a topic since, let's say, 10 or 12 years. And now the last 5 years, due to micromobility and other developments, even more, no? But this developed over time, no? So I think 13 years ago, it was the first moment we bought an electric vehicle. So we were pioneers back then, but it was very, very new. But now we try to be very, very oriented via electric mobility. So the huge part of our fleet is now electric.
Right. Is that been driven from you at the beginning, or was that already more of a customer decision? Because of course, more and more customers, even employees, request that the project that they're working on has something to do with bettering the environment around themselves. No? So did you boost that from the beginning? Once you saw that actually makes sense, was that an age thing where you are like, okay, now I can focus on something sustainable because we're stable? Where did it come from?
No, it just we always try different products. No, we are basically, as we are a solutions provider, we're looking for different brands of motorcycles. No, so we talk to the whole industry, to different providers, and yeah, we tried out electric. We were the first ones to try out, and back then, 13 years ago, the electric motorcycles were not, let's say, up to speed or the same standard that we have now, no? So it was a little bit, it was quite a risky approach back then.
Right. So coming back to my initial question, I already promised you I'm going to do that a couple of times today.
Sure.
Would you say that you even had a real dream of what you wanted to pursue before even starting Lilium? Or was it maybe more the dream of becoming an entrepreneur, of creating something yourself first before even knowing what you wanted to do?
Yeah, I think it's related because at the end it's a mixture, no? You also have to be sure about the product and the business model. But it's also developing a lot over time, no? So in Cooltra, as I shared, no, at the beginning we were renting to tourists. Now we're renting much more to residents and companies. So our target has changed and the company has developed. No, yeah, I think it's about, for me, it's a lot about entrepreneurship. It's about building something, creating something. As I said, the product, yes, we are in mobility, but I think that was more a coincidence. So maybe if life has given me another project, maybe then it would have been another one. But I think in general, I think I during the career, no, when I was like 28 or so, I really felt I wanted to become an entrepreneur. So I think that's for sure, no. And even if I have to do at some moment something different, I think it would be in the entrepreneurial space.
So what actually made you continue? Because we are interviewing a lot of entrepreneurs who maybe were 5 years with their companies, and even some of them, when the company hit those years, they kind of feel that they are not the CEO fitting or the leader fitting that. So there's a moment of change between where the company goes and the leader goes. So you've been quite some time,
a lot. I mean, I'm
a lot
probably
of years.
one of the.
So that's like what makes you stay there, and how did that motivation evolve?
Well, I think it has two sides, no? One side that personally I'm very motivated, because at Cooltra we have been growing continuously, and every day there are new challenges for me. The topics I'm treating now are very different from the ones, when I was working in a garage, no, renting motors. So the development has been there. So for me, it's very motivating. It's very challenging, no, managing such a big team and international business. It's the investor side, no, financing, everything, no, especially people management. So for me, I feel every day challenged. So I'm not bored at all, not at all, no. And there's still so much to go with Cooltra. I think we can still 10, 15, 20 years create different geographies, different products. So there's a lot to do. And then on the other side, if I'm the right person for the job, no. So I think in that way, I'm now even better. I have a better fit than when I was in the shop renting to people, no? Because by my whole, let's say, development over time, now I was studying business, I was working in investment banking, I did management consulting. So I had some experience. Then between Lilium and Cooltra, I was working as an assistant to a CEO. So I also, well, it was a big company, so I was he was leading a team of 10,000 people. So I was very close to him, learning from him. So doing also my previous experience, I got preparation, no, to do, and also the MBA helped me, obviously, no. So for the situation where I'm in now, so I think I'm still doing okay. Other people, are more style. Either they're more founders at the beginning, or more CEOs, no, executors at the end. And yeah, I think I'm probably more a better executor, and I'm not such a visionary, no. I'm more an implementer and managing the day to day.
So who is actually, or who has been put in that visionary part? Like, was it a co-founder? Was it someone from the team that you can rely on? Or is it that your company strength is more focused on this making things happen than on...
Yeah. No, our company is very much about execution. No, I mean, managing a fleet of 22,000 vehicles in the street with all the challenges that it brings. It's a lot about execution. No, but we have strategic discussions on board level, in the leadership team. So the thing is also, it's a very changing environment. So making plans more than 1 year, I'm not a big fan. So we do budget to budget. So we 1 year, no, planning, and then it's always changing, and there are new things coming up. In our industry right now, a lot of things are changing because it's very much consolidating. There was a big boom 5 years ago. A lot of money went into micromobility. Many kick scooter companies, no, like Lime, Voi, Dot, Tier, they raised a lot of money, no, and they competed with us with the kick scooters. But now the whole process is consolidating. So we are be in a few years, we will be very, very little number of players actually.
It's interesting because, as you were saying, like a lot of founders actually they start without much preparation. Like it's their first experience, or I think you had quite some preparation and already another entrepreneurship that you did before you started Cooltra. And I think that helped you a lot, right, to be where you are today. But what were those inflection points during your journey as CEO of Cooltra, where you felt like you said there's a lot of challenges all the time, but that the challenge was maybe a bit too much, and you kind of had to step up in a way, to that challenge? Like, what do you think are?
Well, but at the end, it is like, for me, I compared a lot to sports or to hiking or anything. It's a lot about the day to day. It's consistent, It's like consistent working on topics. When there's something popping up, manage it directly, But it has been like over these 17 years has been challenges in all areas, HR, people management, people leaving, good people leaving. That's difficult situation, political fights, but also financial problems. When you run out of cash, so you have to raise money or get financing. You have strategic providers that hijack you. They pressure you. So yeah, all kinds of difficult situations. But it's a lot about you acting according to values and being perseverant, and you're also building up a credibility with your team and with your providers, and there are a lot of things happening because we have built up all these relationships over time. So
In
then
which
you have
moment,
trust.
you're talking about the values, which I think it's something very interesting. In which moment were you really aware of your values? And because the ecosystem of startups and like there are a lot of rules and games we are playing, right?
Yes.
Like, have you felt on your journey as a CEO that some rules of the startup ecosystem were not exactly according to your values? And how did you?
Yeah, but what I struggle with, or what I'm also, I think what we did very well is the topic of not getting too crazy about growth. So especially my sector, there were examples, as I mentioned before, there were companies that were raising 500 million at huge valuations. It's very hard to live up then to these valuations. And then there's a lot of pressure. You have to grow. But at the end, then also you're getting into a circle that you have to raise another round because you're losing money. So you're not so sustainable. The good thing is if you're sustainable and have like a free cash flow positive, in that way you're self-sustainable. So you don't depend on anybody. It's basically, to put it in easy words, the money that you have at the end of the month, is enough to pay all your bills. That gives you independence, that gives you strength, that gives you it gives you power in negotiations, because you're independent, and being independent is what I think is undervalued, because people talk a lot about raising money, but then you are dependent on new rounds and on your investors.
Why do you think so many C-levels or CEOs as well decide to rather go for growth than, and we've seen that in a lot of your talks as well, that you're very conservative when it comes to making money decisions and making people decisions, You'd rather wait a little for the right person and then hire the right person where you're really sure, not do a growth if you're not sure about the market. You said you have one little personal project, which was Brazil. You really wanted to go there, but everything else was very slow and built on sustainable growth rather than on explosive growth and huge evaluations, which then might implode itself.
Yes.
Why do you think so many other startups choose the growth?
No, because growth is very attractive, and it's very important also to have growth to motivate the team. And it's the only thing, there's a difference in growing like unsustainable, saying I want to grow by 100% every year. That is very difficult because you have to finance it and have to make sure you execute it. on. So we've been growing, I think on average, I would say maybe 30 or 40%, which is not bad at all. If the normal economy is growing by, I don't know, 3 or 4, not even that, no? So it's still good growth. But growth is also very important, huh? I'm not saying
Sure.
but it has to be sustainable. You have to. It's similar like you are with a family and you say, what kind of vacation are we doing? No, so you have to do it according to your possibilities. No, and it's a little bit that. No, so we have been managing the company according to our possibilities. No, it's, for example, if you manage teams, there's always the question for more resources, right? Everybody asks for, we need this and this tool, and we need to have more people, we need an assistant, we need more people, no? So that's very difficult to manage, no? And that's why people love growth, no? Because then there's money to spend, a new
It's easier
project.
to make decisions regarding resources.
That's a good and that's very positive, and we have that dynamic in Cooltra, but it has to be limited, no, and according to what you have on the bank account, no, and what you generate from the business. So
And were you always playing that game of
No.
sustainable growth, or
no, because it's a learning experience, no. So I had situations, especially at the beginning, no, the first round we raised was like 700,000 euros, which was a lot of money back then, and we spent it way too quick. No, way too quick, and the problem we back then, it was very early days. No, it was the growth out of Barcelona. So we had, I think, the first extension was to Valencia and then to Ibiza, and if you have money on the account, it's very dangerous. No, that's why also investors oftentimes decide on a phased approach. No, they don't give all the round at once. No, because once the money is there, it's very easy to spend. Huh?
Is that maybe because once, especially in the startups, you're suddenly confronted with sums of money that as a private person you seldomly are, unless you're already in that kind of richness.
Yes.
But suddenly to have 700,000 euros on your account is a different story. No?
Absolutely, no. But for me, it's more like the respect. You always have to see that it's the money of somebody else, no. And because it's like everywhere, like treated. We try, for example, we have a travel policy. It's very simple. It says travel as it's your own money, right? So would you go to the airport in a taxi? If you travel private, no. If it's during the day, you obviously can go by moto or by the bus, no. So it's a little bit this.
Or by Cooltra.
Exactly, exactly. No. So yeah, that's why we try to do it like this. No, it's try to live the company as it's like your own. No, that's what you try to reach. It's not the same, no, because we have 500 employees and not all employees behave the same and have the same relationship to the company.
Right. So you brought up the topic of resources already in this case. And one of the main talking points that you had in a lot of other conversations was that you always insist that one of the most important decisions, especially early on, but in general over the time, will be who you hire, especially managers. I think you gave a whole talk about how important it is to make the right decisions in management, some later on to take people from outside, and to make the right decisions when you're hiring them. My question, you already elaborated on that. Our viewers are welcome to watch it in the ITNIC talks and in other podcasts that you already gave. My question today is, how do you keep them?
How to retain talent? Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. It's for me. It's very clear. It's like people, they sign up for a project and a task and a vision, no, but people leave because they are not happy with the boss.
So they're not happy with you, or
yeah, then they leave because maybe there's a difference. No, we have different values, or the thing like I'm more for cost containment and they want to spend more. So normally people are not happy and not motivated by their superior, and then it's a problem.
Okay, is that the only reason?
It's often a reason, no, but
Big
then
one.
also, but I think this is one of the principal reasons, no. Then others are obviously more because they're moving, they want to move on. For example, if you're a person that started in a first job with 23, I think it's not bad also to change after 3 years, to have a different experience. So I think that's also, if you are on a job, mainly I think you're there, like, how about like 1,000 days, no? Maybe so 1,000 days, and then you're done with the job, no? Because you have went through the learning and developed, and so yeah, we hope to give people then maybe a new project, no? So they can stay on another 1,000 days. So inside of Cooltra, there has been a lot of development, people moving from one department to the other, from one business line to the other, from I don't know, customer service to product. So there's a lot of these things, but there are these cycles, no? And so that's important. Then there's also, I mean, sometimes people have different priorities, no? They say, I really want to earn more money, and then you might accept a job that is maybe not so attractive, but economically it's very important, no? And people are in this phase because maybe they have a family, or they have other obligations or whatever. So then the economic part is important, no? And yeah, every company can pay also according to certain needs, no? So I mean, we all know, if you really want to earn big money, you maybe want to live in London, right?
But then you also have the big costs, no?
Yes, and also you don't have the sunshine in the nice city of Barcelona, no?
The quality of life,
yes,
I think, plays a big role.
Yes, but it's also acceptable. So also, I think at the beginning, no, when you have, it's so personal, the project. If a person leaves, you also feel like personally, how do you say it, sad or even deceived, no? So yeah, it's difficult to take when a good person leaves, no? So the original question was how to retain, no? Retain is also, it's a day by day, no? It's like giving water to the plant, no? Listen to people, try to give them a lot of autonomy, ask them how they would decide, no? Involve them, and create also a fun environment with the other peers, no? So in the marketing team, create a great atmosphere. Then in the product team, have a great atmosphere. And not all teams also accept that they work differently, Every team inside our company has probably different dynamics.
It's interesting because sometimes when we talk about retaining people, we talk about, as you said, like some people we need to leave, and like they will leave maybe because of bad leadership or misalignment. But while the people are in the company, so regarding growth of people, especially in environments which are so challenging and where there are things happening all the time, from whom is the responsibility of growing people in the companies? Like that water you were talking about. Is it the responsibility of your leaders? Is it the responsibility of each of the person in the organization? So what kind of culture do you have regarding growth in your company?
No, it's a very good question. I mean, it is at the end, it starts on the top, So you as a leader, you are the role model, no? So people look at you. So through your actions, they see, no? I think it's very good to be close to the people, to be very human, talk to them, ask them about private things. No, that way you build up a trust relationship. Also be very open, no? Being vulnerable about things that don't work, or recognize errors. That's also good, no? We have a pretty good structure, no? We have like a leadership team, so that's a circle of 15 people. Then we have a management team, that's a circle of 70 people, and then we have the entire team, no? So within these circles, let's say, we also do different kinds of meetings or dynamics, no? So we have groups, communication groups, we have meetings, we have monthly calls with different teams. We have offsites with the leadership team. So every Monday we have 1 hour of leadership meetings. So there's also like a rhythm rhythm to how we are leading. No,
Mhm.
but it's a lot by example, and also accepting the complementarity and the difference within. Like in my leadership team, there's so many differences. No.
Which is good, no?
Yeah, it's very
Have
good.
healthy conflict.
It's very good. No, so to have female, male engineers, creatives, different nationalities also helps a lot. I love to be in an environment. I think we are, I don't know, 35 different nationalities. So,
Wow.
but this is the advantage of being in Barcelona, no? So you
Absolutely.
all these different.
Yeah. Now you said developing your people in the company is very important, right? So what do you do? Because we see that in a lot of companies that we work with as well, with startups, scale-ups, unicorns, all the same in this case, that people leave companies very often because of a lack of perspective, right? So it's about the communication, but it's also about having certain programs in place where people can see, okay, I'm working for this because I want to go there, right? You have a destination. And what do you do in Cooltra in order to ensure that people have a perspective and they have a development plan?
Yeah. No, this is about communication, no? So, for example, no, we do every when we launched the year, it's just because I'm mentioning it because it was just recent, no? So we have this 3-day conference where we launch completely. We share what is the vision, no, of Cooltra, mainly for that year, no. It's mainly about 24, no. What are we doing, no? So and then each department has the opportunity to present where we're going, their KPIs, no, what's going to happen. But then also like the regions, Cooltra, we are divided in 15 geographical regions. So all the 15 regional leaders also present what's going to happen in Milan, what's happening in Paris, what's happening in
Now you're
Lisbon.
avoiding the question. That
Yeah,
absolutely fair
yeah,
what you said,
sure.
but it doesn't answer my question in
Yes,
terms of what you're doing to ensure that people within the
yeah,
company can develop on a personal, on a professional level.
sure. No, but that's at the end. It's also responsibility of each person. No, I mean, for example, I think, for example, no, looking at the management team, if you think about training, no, what kind of training, it's so individual because maybe one person wants to get better at Excel, the other wants to have better communication skills or leadership skills or language.
So you generally have a big budget in the company for every
No,
individual training.
big budget not, but we try to be no, but we try to be very customized. So HR, no, we don't do generic things, because that often doesn't work, no.
Right.
So we try to do very individual solutions. Also, for example, with people, no, because they're in different phases. It's very different to have if you're a single person of 24 or your family father with 3 children living outside of Barcelona. So also in terms of how many days you want to be present in the office, no, it's
Right.
different.
Of course.
No,
Of course, yeah.
so there we are also being very flexible, no, or also in terms of payments or holidays or perks. It's not like one shoe fits it all. So we try to have individual relationships, no, and that worked pretty well because I think what I'm most proud of is that the leadership team. If you look at there, I think on average is 6.5 years. That's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot. That's really a lot, no, for an industry.
Absolutely. So one thing that I've recognized, especially when you were talking about individualistic solutions, it was very much in relation to how somebody can do their work, especially in Cooltra, right? So some people have home office allowance, some people are going to the office more regularly. So everybody has the mix that they need. Again, you avoided my question of development, no? We cheated a little bit. So we had a round table with head of people just a week ago.
With Rosanna.
Exactly.
Cool.
Rosanna was very she put on the table like that there are so many things going on in terms of development and trainings in Cooltra. A lot of things done internally, and that the main challenge was the budget. She was like, every time I come with a great idea, they are like, that's a very good idea, but you have to do it yourself. So I think that there are two good things there, right? Like there's one very good point of like you are making people owner of their own projects, but it's also challenging, right, to achieve development of so many people, especially leadership, with not much budget. So why is the reason? Like some companies, they have big budgets for development, some companies not. Like what's your thought regarding that?
Yeah.
Because you were talking a lot about responsibility of
it's
people,
not
right?
so much money. It's not about money, it's more about things that you offer. For example, we made this great move now to move to Norsken. Norsken is an impact hub down at the sea. It's near the W Hotel. It's a foundation, so it's a very, very, very beautiful office. I invite everybody to come. There's on the fourth floor, there's an amazing club to visit, etc. So we made that move, and that move in terms of budget is not different from what we paid before, but it gives people so much more motivation, right?
And perspective, and other
perspective,
founders.
for example, in Cooltra, for example, maybe before the COVID, we were quite strict on assistance, Now it's super flexible, So there's so many things that have remuneration flexible, all kinds of benefits have been introduced. So if you look at where we were 4 years ago and where we're now, we have come a very big path. I'm proud of it, and what Rosanna has built over time. Is it now the top what McKinsey offers to all their consultants and all these perks and free cars and whatever? No, that's not what we do. No, but I think within our budget, we're doing a good job in developing. So it's about the perspective where you come from. No? I mean, we're coming from the garage environment with nothing.
It comes a lot from you and from how you think about your own responsibility of like improving yourself, so that you also expect that. I understand from people. Another point that she was putting on the table was that for 10 years there was no people department or chief of people in Cooltra. Like, what made you not have that before, like the first 10 years, and what made you make this decision? So what's your thoughts regarding when is it good to have a chief of people next to you?
Yeah, I think if you manage a team of, let's say, 25 or 30 people, I don't think it's necessarily you need an HR person at that stage, honestly. I mean, we're, for example, smaller teams let's compare Portugal and Italy, In Portugal, I think we are 20 people, and so there's already one leader. I expect this person, if he leads 20 people, to do the leadership in HR functions, right? In Italy, we are, I think, 100 people. There, we're getting into a size where the leaders has other responsibilities as well, and doing all the people leadership styles task is not easy. So there we have an HR person, So I think, honestly, I think when we didn't have an HR department, I think maybe we extended it a little bit too much. But I think now, since 10 years, we do have HR, Now it's called people, and I think it's much nicer, and I like it. So, HR is like human resources.
Exactly.
It has such a
people
corporate connotation,
doesn't
as well.
it? Doesn't it? I like people more.
Absolutely.
You were talking about the responsibilities of the managers, right? And like in that moment, they had to also take some of the HR. What about your responsibilities as a CEO? I guess that also changed quite a lot. But what are you focused now on? What would be the main responsibilities you have today?
Yeah, I mean, but what I believe is what a CEO has to do mainly, are 3 tasks, and it's very clear. You have to define the strategy, to define where the company is heading. Number 1. 2 is making sure all the people around you have the resources to do the job, meaning resources in a broader sense, that there's budget, that there are people, that they have the tools to communicate. And 3rd is really to develop the people and the organization in terms of, okay, for example, we had a manager that was working 7 years as ops, chief of ops, and now we had a vacant in terms of general management, so we moved this person sideways, for example, So developing people, that's an example, But also developing people on other levels, investing in their development. So I really see these 3 tasks: strategy, organizing resources, also the financing in case it's needed, and organization.
You feel you are good at the 3 of them, and you enjoy the 3 of them?
Yeah. And I'm also micromanaging a lot.
Yeah, you said one of your biggest weaknesses is delegation.
Yes, sure. No,
Um,
I'm very much on top of all. But it gives you also very good insights, no?
Mhm.
And also there are organizations where the leadership, let's say, cupola is
Very
disconnected
far.
with the company. No, I think we are quite connected. I would love to be even more on the ground.
Even more. So
Yes.
you already said you're
Well, no,
micromanaging.
it's micromanagement is always a bad word, but I think it's also about being present in different processes and
Right.
understanding. The important thing is not to take away the decision from the person that has to take the decision, but to be informed. I think it's very good, very good, because then you have better criteria for decision.
In the end, you are the main responsible for the whole thing going on, and the responsibility, I guess, it has been growing and growing and growing up to where you are today.
Yes.
So, how does that feel for you on your shoulders? Like it feels you're
It's
a
big.
person with energy, a person
Yes,
with
but
persistence,
it's big.
but
It's big. It feels you feel responsible, no, for all, especially for the persons that are there. And yeah, I wouldn't like to give bad news to people, you know, that something doesn't work, you know. I don't like that. So I feel very responsible. And yeah, if I'm calm always and relaxed, no. It comes, everybody that is in a position like this feels the responsibility.
You have a very calm attitude in general. Like also when I met you the first time today, you have your stressors as well.
Yeah,
I
I'm
believe.
quite no, but that would be maybe like you see me, but no, I'm not so calm. I'm
You're boiling
also
inside.
I'm impulsive. Yeah, I'm impatient.
Well, you overcame so many obstacles though, and you were growing quite a lot, like you described before, from running basically a garage shop to running a 600 people company. So maybe you can give us a bit of an insight. What coping strategies did you come up with? As you said, okay, so you're not always calm. I guess you have your things to deal with. So what are these things, and what kind of solutions did you come up with to help yourself, actually?
Yeah, no, I mean, the good thing is if you are the years you're working, no, on a project, it gives you also perspective, no, because it means you know that there are days that just don't work out, but then there are other good days, no, so you get more perspective, no, so you don't get so frustrated. What helps a lot is like in the moment when there is something that I don't like or feel, I go directly to the problem. So in that way, it is like I don't let the snowball get too big, you know, then it's a problem for me. So I rather, for example, no, if I go on vacation, do I disconnect? No, I rather do every day 1 or 2 hours. It's a style question, no? People ask me, why don't you never disconnect? Because I feel better. I'm more relaxed the other 23 hours if I know everything is under control, no? So,
But you have a very great team, and you said that yourself.
yeah.
So do you not trust them enough for 2 days, let's say, when you're away with your family, to let them go and be sure that the company is not going to burn down in the meanwhile? Is that a personal thing, or do you think
I think it's more a personal thing. It's not that I don't trust them. It's just to be. I don't like maybe the uncertainty. You know that there might be something going on. No, and oftentimes it's so easy to solve something. No, you just send a message or so. I don't want to be. Never want to be the bottleneck. You know that people are waiting for decision. I think that's really frustrating when people have superiors that don't take decision. I think that's people don't like that. They want rather you say no and then they know what's going on, no, than having this, maybe I decide in 1 week or no. So we try to decide quickly.
So I think ownership is a big topic in general in your company. Everybody we met also from Cooltra had quite of this personality of taking ownership of their processes. So I think you're focusing on hiring, especially people.
Yeah, strong characters. Yes, it's true. Yes. But it's also not so easy, no, because they also it's oftentimes you have conflicting ideas, no, so you have then to mediate or.
Of course.
But it's also there, maybe because we have been working so many years together, then they also know, yeah, sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. It's also, you never win all the battles, no?
Right.
So
what do you do if you lose a battle?
It's okay. I mean, I'm an ambitious guy, and yeah, I don't like it, no. So what you can do is always to try to anticipate somehow, no. If there's a difficult situation coming up, the good thing is to anticipate. It's like what I always say to people that are with smaller startups. It's anticipate that you need cash flow and that revenue is not coming like in your business plan. No? Always have enough money on the account. It's about anticipation, because if you have the money, the cash flow guaranteed for, let's say, 18 months or 24 months ahead, then you can really manage more calm. The stress comes a lot when the cash is not there.
Right. So maybe to break it down as well, the
Yeah.
cash, I mean, these are all numbers, but what it means for you as well is, can I keep all the people I'm working with right now, or would I need to let somebody go, or would I need to change the structure, right? So this is putting way more pressure than the actual number, I guess.
Yeah.
At the end of the day. In any case, now I lost the cue. We have a startup next to us, actually.
Okay.
So they are having a meeting, and we asked them to be a bit more quiet, but they're Spanish and also international.
It's not a problem at all.
Quite a dynamic.
No, I really enjoy the discussion, so don't worry.
To finish, like I would like to know, like, during your journey, so how have your ego as a founder, as a leader, as a person, limited you during your journey?
Wow, good. That's a really strong question, no? Yeah, I guess that has happened, no? Because all of us have strong egos, no? And yeah, you have to accept that you're not the best in everything, no? So it's very important. I think the best thing is to listen, and it's a great sign if people can tell you feedback, no? That means that so you have to create, no, by yourself an atmosphere that people feel that can tell you things, no? I think that's something that would be very bad, that I don't know, I'm like the leader of Cooltra and people don't dare to tell me what I'm doing wrong or if we take a wrong decision. No, so it's like an obligation to speak up for people.
Because I think a strong character sometimes comes with
Yes,
strong
yes,
ego. So
yes, it's a good question.
what have you done in order to? Because now I understand people talk to you, but like,
Yes.
how did you
No,
get
because
to that?
maybe for example, no, if they come with new ideas, the worst thing is because maybe even you think it's a bad idea, no, to swipe it off the table, no. So there, I think, to be more open-minded. The problem, it comes with limited time, no. The problem is all of us, we have so limited time. So some discussions you have to break because they lead nowhere, and it's just complicating things, no. So it's a mixture. But we are also, like in a company like ours already, we are working much more in a framework. So we have a budget, so we know where we are going. There are not so many big. If you're in a small project, maybe you have big discussions every week, no, because things are so hectic. We are more continuous now, no. I mean, we know in which cities we operate this year. This is not a discussion if we don't have every week a discussion, are we opening a new city? No, it's already in the budget, no? Yeah. It's already in the budget who to work with and how many people are in the team. There's not like we discuss, in the product team we need 3 more people. No, it's a budget. So we are already in a framework, which makes it easier to manage also. Then the beginning phase when everything is so improvised, no?
Makes sense. Especially saying the beginning phase, one of the quotes that really stuck with me was, we are all lonely sometimes, but the loneliest of all people amongst us is our CEO. It was a quote from one of your employees.
Okay.
And we have seen that with a lot of founders, especially CEOs, usually bear a lot of the weight on their shoulders, and it's also the weight that can break you to a certain degree, no? What did you do to overcome that? And did that get better over time to have a positive outlook also for some of the viewers that we will have?
Yeah.
Or does it get worse?
No, it's very true about feeling lonely. No, many people have that feeling. And it is especially, that's why I think it's dominant strategy to have co-founders, no? And you can see it in very successful startups, no? Like Factorial, for example, or Globo or Privalia, they were always a team of two, no? And that's good. I think it's definitely, if you compare, it's better co-founders or founder. I think it's a dominant strategy to be co-founder. So that helps a lot, I think. But in my case, I'm single founder. I think it's a majority, no? We are single founder. And so, yeah, you feel sometimes in the middle, no? Between shareholders, because you are a shareholder, but not like the investors. You're also a manager, but not the same. So you're like a special species.
So who do you take
Yeah.
your emotional bin out
Yeah.
with? You do that with your family,
with
your
my
friends?
beach volleyball
your beach
and my
volleyball?
tennis. Yeah, no, I do a lot of sports, so that helps me a lot, and it's a very different environment where we don't talk a lot about business, so that's really great, huh? I really enjoy that. So I have been doing this for many years, very continuous. Also, I'm very disciplined. Besides, so I'm practicing like 4 times a week. So it's really
still.
Yes. It's in the evening. It's like 7:30 to 9, so which is perfect, no? Or sometimes I go in the morning, work out. So I'm really disciplined in that, and that gives me a lot of energy, no? That helps. And what I do a lot is we are a lot in peer groups, no? So that there's like I'm in a group some similar like EO. It's called Forum Berlin. We're in this group since many years, and it's so much fun. And 15 years with the same entrepreneurs we're exchanging, so learning from peers. Endeavor is a very good organization. I hear for to meet other entrepreneurs, but there are also all kinds of. So I think learning from peers and exchanging ideas is tremendous.
I find very interesting about your ability of really keeping relationships, right? Like you said now with peers, which is something not easy. You said with your own team. So I think it's great to walk the way of entrepreneurship, which is not easy with good people next to you. So to finish up, what's the next game that you are playing now? Like where are you going as a leader, as a person?
Yeah, no, I really like your questions. They're really good. The next is now I turned 50 last month, so it's basically probably I want to work maybe like hardcore like I do now, maybe 10 more years,
10 more years. Wow.
Yeah, to work hard, no, and but I want to get a little bit more in this phase of giving more and being more involved. So I started to be on boards of some other startups. They appointed me at Jesse to the board. It's a university. So I'm getting more like a little bit more in a strategic role maybe. And then Cooltra also with the time, my manager also growing so much, and so I want to be more like maybe now I'm CEO, but maybe someday, I don't know, within the next 5 years, I move more into like a president role. You know that. So there's more like even more working on strategic topics, no? But at Cooltra, we have such an incredible project ahead of us, especially these years, because the market is consolidating.
Absolutely.
So now we're maybe 20 players, and I really believe in 3 years we are like maybe 10. So there's so much opportunity now, also in consolidating with other players. No, so that's really exciting now. Exciting time. So I think we can grow now. We have been growing all the time organically. So now we are probably also growing the next years a little bit more inorganically. So purchasing other companies, merging with other projects. So that's going to be very exciting. Also in terms of culture and people management. Yeah, and we are now at 50. So I think I really would like to be like at 100 million revenue. That's my objective. But especially also maintaining the cost and being sustainable, no, and showing benefits for my shareholders.
Big challenge.
Profits.
They don't stop.
Yes.
Thank you so much, really, for sharing your journey with us. And for sure, I think the next years are going to be interesting. So
Thank you.
Hopefully we keep the conversation going.
We're
Fantastic.
excited for what's to come.
Sure.
Thanks a lot,
guys.
Thank you
Timo.
a lot.
Thank
Thanks.
you. Great.